Everyone, I wanted to talk a little bit today about when people say to you, you're an overthinker or you're not a team player. So, what do those things really mean in terms of project management? I don't like the term you're an overthinker because I really think that it's an invalidation of the person, and it's usually said by somebody, in my experience, that doesn't want to listen to what you're saying or what you're thinking about. It's generally not said in a way where that person is genuinely concerned about your mental health. So by that I mean if somebody is really overthinking and it's almost a form of panicking where they just continue to think, and that's at the exclusion of anything else so that they're not able to perform, that's a real concern, and you probably find that that person is really struggling, so they would need a bit of empathy. In my experience, and if you've been watching or listening to my Autistic Project Manager podcast, you'll know that this is a thing that happens particularly to those of us that are on the spectrum, that are neurodivergent, because we can hyperfocus on something. But does that mean that we're overthinking? I'm not sure about that, and I know for me, hyperfocus is different to the concept of overthinking. I wanted to bring this up today because as project managers, we really do have the most fantastic tools that can help us address some of these issues. So if somebody is saying to you, you're an overthinker, like I said, it's mostly that they're trying to hit you over the head with a comment that is not really so positive. But what you can do yourself is set your own boundaries and say to that person, now, why do you think that? Can you give me an example where you think I'm overthinking? And listen to what they say. Don't be judgmental. Don't do anything. Don't react. Go away then and employ your own project management tools. And they are things like issues management, risk management, stakeholder management, but particularly around the issues management. So if someone's telling you that you're an overthinker, sit and think about what it is that you might be overthinking on in terms of how that person is viewing you, as distinct, as I said before, from hyperfocusing, which is a different thing. Just as an aside, I've been able to often mitigate my own hyperfocus when I can realise it, that I'm overfocusing, or some loving person in my family can say to me, you know, you're hyperfocusing on that. And the instant that they say that to me, I'm off it. I instantly recognise that's what's happening, and I can move myself out of that hyperfocus. But as I said, I think that's different to being an overthinker, which again, it is a psychological state of being, I guess, often born out of anxiety. So if you have a manager or a team member that's telling you that you're an overthinker, or you're just overthinking that, it could be a number of different things. And certainly in the past as a female, and I know a lot of things have improved with this now, but as women we used to get told that we were too aggressive or we were too emotional or whatever it was, right? And I would often question those things and push back, because I can tell you now I've seen far more men, in fact only men, crying and getting angry in boardrooms. I've never seen a female cry in public, in a boardroom or in a meeting. So that emotional label is something that is thrown out to devalue you as a person and to whitewash sometimes what you're saying. And so is the overthinking label. Again, I'm not a psychologist, So there are times when you are definitely overthinking and you will need to seek help. But if it's something that's thrown at you by a manager or a colleague or a team member in your organisation, sit quietly and think about why they've said that, and then go to your toolkit as a project manager and pull out the tools that you need. It could even be your RACI that you go back to and say to that person, well, look, these are the roles and accountabilities that we have agreed in the RACI for this project. So potentially I'm overthinking this particular scenario because that person's not pulling their weight. And in that case, you can then reach again into your toolbox and there'll be a solution for you. And it may be a nice, firm escalation to your sponsor or your stakeholder group, whatever that may be. So let's just move off that overthinking thing as well. And it certainly can happen in your private life. So I'll just leave you with, set boundaries for yourself and protect your own mental health because people calling you these names are labels often put on to you to devalue you or your opinion. I also wanted to talk about the team player thing, and I've put these two things into this one podcast session because if you have been at all assertive as a female, if you are at all seen as problematic because you've overthought something or you're bringing things up, or, for example, those of us that are autistic may see an injustice or see something very clearly. So you might be quite assertive about whatever the issue is. You can often be seen as not being a team player. And again, I think that this is a label thrown out by lazy, inexperienced managers. And there'll be a lot of people out there that won't like what I've just said, but I have actually found in my recent experience, probably over the last 15 or so years, that we talk about leadership, but we don't actually talk about management, the ability to manage people, resources in a way that enhances their performance and their productivity and also enhances their sense of self and what their achievement can be in the organisation. If someone labels you as not a team player, there's a reason for it, and the reason may not be about you or that you're not a team player. It may be that you are unsettling that person that is saying that you're not a team player. Now, again, that's not to say that some people don't fit into teams. And some people will stand out from teams. Some people are better not to work in teams. They're better off working independently by themselves under a different form of management. And that's all fine as well. But I would just caution you, if somebody's saying to you, you're not a team player, find out what's at the bottom of that. Why are they saying it? Is it a throwaway? Is it something to devalue you? Or have they got a point? I was once told a long time ago now by a manager that I wasn't a good travelling companion. And what I think he was trying to say was that I wasn't a team player, but more than that, I challenged him. He wasn't a direct manager of mine, but I was closely involved with him as a stakeholder, and he didn't really like some of the items that I was putting forward and the risks and issues that I was talking about for my project, and he found me to be quite difficult. And also, it's just easy to say, well, you're a difficult person, you're not a team player, you're not a good travelling companion. So always find out what is underneath those sorts of comments. And as I said, go back to your toolbox. Look at the culture of what organisation you're in. Look at the culture of your own team. Are you creating a project team that is in alignment with that culture of the organisation, or is it different? And that's not to say that the culture in the organisation is healthy. So again, that's something that you need to assess. So even though these are throwaway terms that on the surface don't seem to mean much at all, I can tell you from my experience that they're like bombs going over the wall. They do mean things. There are underlying issues with the person who has talked to you about it, and that's not to say they're all their issues. They may in fact have very relevant and valuable reasons why they've called you those labels, but check. That would be my message to everybody out there listening today. Check what is the underlying issue. Please subscribe to the channel and listen to the podcasts and the other fantastic webinars and resources that we've got on the channel. Lots and lots of fantastic people that have got some great experience that they are sharing with you for free. Again, if you're finding that this is really difficult and your project is struggling or you are struggling, please reach out to me and the details will be in the description below. We can help you at the clinic. There's all sorts of ways that we can help you at the Project Manager Clinic. So please reach out and contact us. Other than that, next time somebody says to you you're an overthinker or you're just not a team player, have a little think about why they're saying it and what tools you might be able to pull out of your project manager toolbox, and also what boundaries you might be able to reset. And there'll be some reflection time too, no doubt. So please subscribe, as I said. Have a fantastic project day,